Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to your last class of Model 1 and it's Friday. Day.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Hey, good morning.
Okay, so before we start the class, I just wanted to make some quick announcements. Um, so if someone hasn't uploaded the activity number 2, you still have until Sunday to upload it. It will be graded over 80. So just for you to consider that, please make sure that you upload all your activities before Sunday. If it's late, I will just be grading it over 80, but I can accept it, okay? So please, I will not be receiving anything after Sunday. Why? Because I'm trying to graduate everything on Monday so that you can have all your grades available in Canvas. And if you want to clarify anything or have any specific questions about any activity, you can talk to me and we'll arrange a meeting or something because I will not be seeing you anymore in the next days. So this is the way that we're going to be doing it. So please, if you have any questions or comments, send me an email or you can tell me and I can stay at the end of the class. Also, I just wanted to know, I think it was team number, let me check. It was team number 2, team number 5, and team number 6. You didn't send me your selected countries. So be sure that you, at the end of the class, tell me or send it to my email so that I can give you the visto bueno, as it says. So that will be the only announcements that I have. And we're going to be starting our last class. Okay. Great. So international services. We have been seeing a lot of information and hopefully right now we're going to be closing and connecting a little bit about the dots and just talking about some examples of servitization that will be our last topic to cover. So just for you to have an idea of what servitization is, I mean, we have been talking about services and we talked a little bit about servitization, but here I'm going to be giving you some examples. Maybe you do know some of them, but I will try to make it like a little bit of a change there. So, okay, servitization, and the quotation goes this way, is the innovation of organization capabilities and processes to better create mutual value throughout a shift from selling a product to selling product service system. So this will be like the general idea of servitization. And if you think about it, it can be done in two different ways. Rather, it could be a company that has a product-based system and it's transforming it into a service. I will be giving some of the examples here. Also, it could be a current service that will be adding a new service on it. So these are the two different ways that you can have servitization. And one of the example, and will be like a really quick example. If you think about it, sometimes you have the opportunity to make more business models and that will reflect into a better income for the company and to have like a better experience at it. So one of the examples that came into my mind was Museo Marco here in Monterrey. It's like a museum, it's a museum of modern arts. So in the morning, they usually sell tickets and they do really good. I mean, a lot of people come into Museo Marco to see all the arts that they have exposed there. But they were saying that at night, they were just having the whole infrastructure there and they will not have it. They were not having making money out of it. So what did Museo Marco did? They usually, if you think about it, the museum, it's a service itself. It's an experience, people go there, etc. So it's already a service. And what they did was that at night, they're going to start making some kind of events. It could be any type of events, weddings, posadas, or any other type of events that someone wants to make into Marco. They have like this whole salon in the middle of the infrastructure. So it will be this kind of way, like type of event. So at night they're doing this. So they're like getting a good use of that infrastructure and creating a different advantage of the core value, which is like a whole experience. So if you think about one service into another, a museum into an event planner. So they right now have two different business models that both of them will be a service. So in order to have different ideas, different examples, I will be showing you some of them. Some of them we have been covering it, but hopefully we're going to switch it in like a different way just to connect it more into servitization. So the first of all will be John Deere. So John Deere, it's like at the beginning, it was an agriculture company. They sell agriculture machinery, and that was the core, that is the core essence of the company. But in one time, they were also making products of the brand. And at one time that they were selling the products, they had like a lot of sales, and a lot of people have the John Deere brand in t-shirts, in caps, in hoodies, in a lot of different versions of it. So what was happening was that kids were having this perception that John Deere was like a clothing company, literally. So John Deere realized that, and they say, okay, wait, that's not my core essence. My core value will be agriculture, so I need to stop that. I mean, they still have some clothing in some way. My brother works there, and he has like the caps and t-shirts and stuff, but it will be more about like the employees, not selling it into a massive kind of amount of people. So they stopped that because that was not adding any value to its core essence. But instead, they started to make this kind of a consulting thing where, okay, I'm going to sell you the agriculture machinery, and also I can give you a consult on how you can improve your land, improve your land by using our equipment. So they have this type of connection with the customer, and that's like a service value added. And at the beginning it was just that, but then they started also teaching classes. They develop an app that can support the customers of the brand in their operations. So they started to add more and more and more services, and that makes them be a part of like a really known or the leader about agriculture. Well, right now it will be consulting and also products. So this is a great example from coming into a product into also adding a service that can support your core value. So another one that we have also talked about will be Lego. So at the beginning, they were only selling like plastic building blocks, and that was it. But then they started licensing. They licensing all the things that you can imagine: Harry Potter, Marvel, other movies that you can imagine. Also, it will be architecture. So pretty much anything you will see it in Lego by license. So if you think about this connection from a product, it was just translated into another product. They just added the licensing thing. But then they started into Legoland. And it just was not Legoland, a theme park. It was also stores with a kind of experience making that you make your own Lego and all that kind of stuff. They also made movies. So they were connecting into the entertainment part. And then they changed it. They added also the Lego Serious Play. What's the Lego Serious Play? So it's a certification. I've already mentioned it to you, but just to get you more into detail of what Lego Serious Play is, pretty much you pay for a certification that will make you promote your creativity and team buildings. So they say that if when you are like doing Lego, you are promoting the income of new ideas. They have like a whole ideology behind it, and it's really interesting. And the important thing in here is that it's for all ages. So you can see in that certification a little kid, a young adult, senior adult, a teenager, whichever age they want to go into, they can take it. And something that is really interesting too is that, okay, they pay the certification, but at the same time, they have to pay for the products that they have to use in the certification, which in this case will be the plastic building blocks of Lego. So at the same time that they're buying your service as a certification, they're buying your product too. So it's like a kind of a thing of a win-win, and it promotes the use of your product at the same time. So this is interesting. And if you think about, okay, normal Lego, they're trying to find out a new product that's good, product to product. Then they change it into well, not change it, but added into product into service. And then they had already a service and added another service. So this is like a really good example of becoming from product into several types of services. Okay, so the next one will be Nike. So if you think about Nike, they sell shoes, like sports shoes and sport clothing and all different things. So at the beginning, you may think that this is like a product-based company, but in the last few years, they have added different things that will be considered totally as a service, and that is promoting also the approach that the company has had in the last years. So they are creating better customer experience. So how are they doing that? So I'm going to put you a quick video, just for like a kind of an introduction, in case that you haven't seen it or heard about it. So I will play this video.
Hey everyone, as you know, Nike has been investing a lot in its retail experience and is clearly in the leading pack when we talk about retail innovators. I'm here in front of New York City's Nike's flagship store, the House of Innovation, and we're going to go in the store to discover all those innovations that are perfectly integrated into the customer experience. Let's go!
Welcome to the House of Innovation, Nike's flagship store in New York City, covering nearly 70,000 square feet in the heart of Manhattan. Here we can enjoy digital and mobile services that are deeply integrated in the physical customer experience, exciting new technologies on display like in a museum.
So the second floor is dedicated to women. And what people were actually telling me is that it's an inclusive floor, meaning it's for every sizes, every height, every weight. So the third floor is dedicated to men. This is where you'll find all the men's apparel, and that you can find also information about various products. So the fourth floor is the sneakers lab. This is the place where Nike introduces its sneakers, and it's also the place where most of the people are hanging out actually. Super cool fact about this store is that you could buy your product without talking to anyone in the store and have a full customer experience just by using the app. You can choose the product that you want. You can get information on the product you want. You can take them to a fitting room. You can try them on. If you need a change, then you can just use the app in order to have your product changed directly in your fitting room. It's going to be delivered directly in your fitting room. Once you're done, you just scan the product and pay them online, I mean using the app. And once it's done, you can just show the app at the entrance and they are going to give you a bag for your purchase. And that's it, it's done.
Here we are on the 5th floor. This floor is dedicated to personalization. Design your own sneakers from scratch or let the design team create and customize them for you. On this floor, you also have the opportunity to take an appointment with a Nike expert. This allows you to get the right product in your hand. Nike continuously reinvents itself. The brand reaffirms its commitment to help individuals express their identity, style, and attitude.
The House of Innovation offers a different kind of seamless customer experience where the technology is a bit more visible than in Amazon Go. The Nike app serves as a companion when you're shopping. And this is driving an amazing growth on e-commerce sales for Nike in 2019. If you're a retailer and you want to invest in a more seamless customer experience, consider applying to Hack Retail, the biggest retail and e-commerce hackathon ever held, where 250 hackers will work non-stop on solving.
Okay, great. So this is a big example of Nike. They have been changing into being a product oriented company into an also service one. If you think about this, it's kind of like a museum, as they say it, and it's like it creates a better consumer experience. If you think about it, when they go there, maybe if you're not that fan of Nike, but you are there in Fifth Avenue, you will probably go there just to feel the experience about Nike. And if you think about it, maybe you will be ending up buying a product for you. And imagine if that happens into a consumer that is not that much of a fan of Nike. What will it happen if really a big fan of Nike goes there? Like they will probably go crazy, you know, because of that all experience that they have. And they also, it's more like a showroom and they have a lot of artificial intelligence there. They also promote that kind of a consulting service for you to have the best pair of sneakers that will adapt completely to what you're looking for. So that will be completely a service-oriented company. So at the beginning, they were said like, okay, I'm selling products. Then they started to show about all of these showrooms and new experience that will come in it with the brand. And they also have the Nike app where it says like it regulates and it measures your performance. And it kind of, if you think about it, a lot of people have the Nike app and a lot of people can chat over there. You can interact with different people that, I don't know, if you're a runner, you can go there and start to creating like kind of a community that will get you like loyal to the brand. If you think about it, you will have Nike and Nike and Nike in your head every time that you do an exercise. And maybe you will start creating a community about that kind of a fandom and that kind of a lifestyle. So that will be something. And something that if you think that the app what has is that you can also share your results in social media. So pretty much you're doing advertisements of Nike for free in your social media. So every time that you share like, hey, look, what's my result for my running today on the morning? And you will put there in your social media, maybe Facebook, maybe Instagram, maybe Twitter, I don't know, you name it. And you will have Nike, 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 Nike everywhere. And people will start connecting like, oh my God, Nike, Nike. And it will start being at the top of the head of everyone. So that's different things. And you're also creating at the same time better brand perception. So people will start thinking about Nike into more than a sales store, but an experience that comes with it. So this is the example of Nike. And coming more into another type of company that of course you will think about, it's Ferrari. So Ferrari is normally known, this logo is like really, really famous. And if you think about this, the first thing that comes into your mind will be selling cars, luxury cars. very expensive cars, the one that we all want to have. So at the same time, they're moving into other products and at the same time other services. So I just wanted to ask you, what products does Ferrari also has that are not cars? Anyone?
They have like merch, like well, like the John Deere thing. They have it too, like jackets and all that stuff.
Yes, totally. They have clothing. Andres?
Oh, you said product or problems?
Products.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I understood
No.
problems.
No, products.
Well, they also sponsor racers for the F1 race league.
Okay.
So they have like that type of sponsorship agreement with them.
Okay, great. So that will be kind of an advertisement, which kind of it's like a service. Yes, totally. Thank you, Andres. Linda?
Currently, this year they have their fashion collection that is like Versace and all these high name brands, and they are
Okay.
trying to participate in that market. So they have like their merch that is like mainly for sports, but now they are into fashion.
Okay, great. That's a really interesting fact, Linda. Thank you. And if you think about it, why would you be willing to pay for like a product of Ferrari? Like, why would you be buying a Ferrari clothing? Any guess?
I think that it is because of the logo, because it is easily recognizable and people will feel like, I don't know, better about themselves maybe.
Yes, that's totally what happens, Leonardo. If you think about maybe some of us can buy a Ferrari and we don't know if we'll be able to have that, but you can do have like, I don't know, a perfume, a lotion, a toy, like a cap, something. So that will make you feel connected to the brand, like part of that community, even though that you didn't have that Ferrari. So that's why people are willing to pay for a Ferrari product, just to feel more close to it and feel like that kind of luxury thing. Okay, so Raul is saying they have glasses, perfumes, used to have co-ops with Motorola, and they have Ferrari World in Dubai. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Raul. So yes, as Raul is saying, so here is just an example of the things that you can find out about Ferrari. Can be toys, can be lotion, can be other types of things. And also the Dubai theme park. That's really interesting. So Dubai theme park. Something just to give you like an insight, the Ferrari theme park has one of the fastest roller coaster on earth, which will be these ones that are in the image. And also something for you to know is that it's not a theme park that it's from Ferrari. Ferrari just sell a license to someone in Dubai so that they can use all the whole brand experience. Of course, they have to be approving things and you know that kind of relationship that licensing are supposed to have. But so why would you go to the Ferrari theme park? I mean, of course, if you maybe are like a really big fan of Ferrari and I don't know, you have that kind of illusion, that will be cool. But why, what's the other type of thing that will come into your mind? Like, okay, this is the decision why I'm going to go to the theme park of Ferrari. Yes, Nancy?
Maybe because it's like an opportunity for them to experience how it feels to ride a Ferrari without anything like a car.
Yes, totally. So in some way, I haven't gone into Ferrari theme park. I wish, but that's the kind of that's the kind of experience that you're expecting when you're going to go into a Ferrari theme park. Feeling the experience of the velocity of riding a Ferrari, etc. And if you think about it, okay, Andres?
No, sorry. You go first, Professor.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. You can talk and I'll talk after.
Yeah, I think it's a very different experience, and also the location is very exotic, just as the cars themselves. And I would be very interested to know why they chose to open the park in Abu Dhabi rather than in Italy, because a Ferrari is such an iconic Italian brand. So I don't know if they were going to like cater to a different market, or maybe go uh, for an exotic type of vibe. Yeah, that would be very interesting to know why they chose Abu Dhabi.
Okay. So anyone can guess like why they chose Abu Dhabi? Like there's no wrong or right answer, just like kind of a perception. Yes, Linda?
Yes, I think that they choose Abu Dhabi because Abu Dhabi is what in my belief is like Monaco, where there are like a lot of people with like a lot of money, so they are like a huge fan of these type of cars, like fasted cars. So I think that this is mainly why it's located like in Abu Dhabi. But I don't know. I think like this could be a way.
Yeah, so maybe that will be our common sense saying that if you go there, you will see a lot of cars like randomly in the street. It will be a common thing. So it will perfectly connect with the idea of having the theme park there. So I think that it was like a good country selection. In my opinion, it gets more into that kind of vibes of luxury and elite. So it's like I think it was a good option. I wish it was closer so that we can go and visit, but maybe one day, okay? So also what I wanted to mention to you is that if you think about Ferrari, you will think that it's a brand that will make you feel secure. That doesn't matter how fast you're going, like the car can handle it, and that you will completely be safe. So at the same time, if you think about Ferrari in a theme park where they have like strongest roller coasters and crazy speeds, so you in a kind of way, if you go to a theme park, that you will not be feeling safe, and it's like attractions all the way and roller coasters, maybe you will not be going there. Why? Because maybe you will not feel safe, and why are you going to be paying like a ticket if you're not going to get into that roller coaster, etc. So in some way, it gives you like that kind of perception that you're going to be safe, even though it's the one of the fastest roller coasters on earth. So that will be something that maybe they're considering, that it was like a good idea to make a theme park, because it will connect automatically to all the brands' perception of the cars in general. So at the same time, they also sell products over there. And I mean, if we talk about the products that Ferrari is selling, at the same time, BMW also has like their store. So it's something that we can see in not just Ferrari. This was a good example of Ferrari because they also had that theme park experience. I think Mercedes also had a theme park in Germany, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so was a good example of product based, and they're not leaving that core essence. They're still trying to make like more experience that can up into the brand. And maybe a car was not achieving that much of target markets, and then adding these type of products and these types of theme parks, in some way you're going into more that than what you had when you were just having like your car, if you think about it. So that means more money in some way. Okay, great. So the last example that I'm going to be giving you will be a company that we have been talking a lot of that company lately, because I loved it. And okay, so maybe you already realized it will be Disney. So, and what I will try to do here is just to give you like a different completely different example that was that was that we have been talking about. Because why? Okay, if we think about Disney, they have a lot of kind of different services. They have products, they have theme parks, they have movies, they have series, they have a lot of different things and a lot of different services. But what one thing that they have is Make a Wish. So Make a Wish it's an organization separate from Disney that what they were looking is that people and kids that has like a certain kind of a disease or having health issues, normally this association will go with the kids in the hospital, and they were willing to make them their last wish. Well, of course it was hoping that it was not the last wish, but just to give them like that kind of opportunity to make a wish that they're coming into their mind. And most of the times all the kids were asking to go to Disneyland, so, or Disney World. So this is what happened, and I just wanted to show you a little clip just for you to feel like that kind of emotion and feel chills. I always want to cry when I see this video, but I think it's really sweet. So I will put it to you, and then we're going to start talking about what they did after they realize they have like a specific type of hazard thing.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon the star, your dreams come true. When you wish upon the star, your dreams come
Okay, great. So that was what Make-A-Wish is. I know it's too early to be crying. Yes, it always gives me chills and that kind of emotion, like, oh my God, I wanted to cry too. So yes, this is really magical. And if you think about it's something different. It's a different kind of service if you think about it, even though of course Disney doesn't make money out of it. But something that it's important for you to mention is that not all kinds of services will be involved with money. There are some other types of services that will just be that, a service. And we have also other types of companies that are doing this kind of labor thing. So if you think about Make-A-Wish, and as we saw in the video, most of the kids, so you now see like the kids growing, thank God they were like growing good and they have already made the wish. And if you saw the pictures, they all were going to Disney. And they put you like the picture of when they were going to Disney and having like that contact and character meeting, etc. So most of the kids, yes, that was a reality. And they all wanted to go to Disneyland or Disney World, and they make that wish come true. But something that was happening, it's that maybe some of the kids will be able to go into the Disney parks, but some others couldn't. It was kind of a hazard for them to go to one of the Disney parks, even though that that might be their wish, because of the physical condition, because of what the doctor said. So in some way, they were not giving that the Make-A-Wish thing to that kind of kids that were not able to move. So what Disney wanted to implement is like, okay, Make-A-Wish is an organization from the United States. They have different types of alliance with hospitals. And what Disney made is that you see in all of these pictures, you can see like the reception of Finding Nemo, or that kind of consulting with Phineas and Ferb, or, like all kinds of. So what they made is that in some hospitals, they made like a Disney section so that they can feel that they're not like in the hospital, that they are like kind of in a Disney, maybe an hotel or something. So kind of giving them a different experience. And what happens too is that if they can go to the park to meet their favorite character, the character will go with them. So that's what they also do. If you see this picture of Minnie and Mickey with a kid, or Star Wars characters going there to visit and like makes them feel out of their health issues just to have like a different experience. And what it also happens is that sometimes they take like actors, like Marvel actors. I have seen a lot of videos of Tom Holland and other like Thor and Iron Man, and everyone goes to visit kids. There's one video also, it's really, really cute and sweet, about Johnny Depp going to visit a girl. I suggest that you see that. Well, if you want to cry, please don't do it, but it gets you emotional. It's really sweet. So that's something that they're doing. And if you think about, that's a completely different service that Disney normally offers, which is like a theme park or products or movies. So this is completely different. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, they are still making what their main core values are. So making a magical moment, making people to have this special connection with the characters. So at the end of the day, this is just supporting the brand perception and the brand core values and objectives. So I think this was like a cute example. I hope you enjoy it. And this will be our last example. We're just going to pass a little bit into theory. So before that, I just wanted to talk to you like normally. So can anyone give me an example like these examples that I just shared with you about a company that have been moving into a product to a service, or a service to a service? Another example that we have not discussed, I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty more, but I just wanted to like hear it from you. So anyone? Any example of a company that can come into your mind? Yes, Paulina?
Yes, so I just remember about Ladur or Ladure, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like a macaron store, but then it moved to like a cafeteria, and they have cafeterias all around the world. I mean, they sell the product also, but they give you a service too.
Okay, yes. So La Durée is a really good example of a franchise that gives you that kind of experience. I think when you enter to that restaurant in that some kind of way, you feel like you are like in, I don't know, 16th century or something. So it gives you a completely different experience. So maybe I haven't thought about them having like a new kind of a service at it. Maybe they're looking to have, I don't know, I think they have kiosk, and they also have like the restaurant experience. So that will be two different types of services experience to the customers making. So, okay, thank you, Paulina. Leonardo, and then Enrique.
Yes, I thought about this manga publisher in Japan called Shueisha, I think. And
Okay.
well, they publish weekly manga in a magazine they have that is called Shonen Jump, and it's one of the most famous. Well, it's the most famous there. And they used to have, it's not there anymore, in the top floor of Tokyo Tower, like a mini theme park of their most popular manga called One Piece. And there you could buy merchandise. There was a little like play, people playing as the characters, and there was like a lot of games, attractions, etc.
Oh my God, I didn't know knew about this, but yes. So One Piece is like a really big anime series. So yes, so even though they have like a really a good connection with that TV, well, not, but that comic or manga, um, them doing this type of experience for them to going kind of into a museum that they can interact with all the things that they are commonly read in the manga. So they give them like a really more of a contact with the idea of it. So it gets more like, if even though they already have like kind of a community, they improve that community and they improve that experience. Okay, so it will be interesting to go there. Thank you. Enrique?
Yes, miss. For example, also Mattel, some years ago,
Uh-huh.
they used to make movies and series from their toys brands,
Mhm.
and well, they have the series, and then they launches new products from that series. And
Okay.
also recently, I read that they are planning to build a thematic park, like a Disney park, with also their brands. So there will be like roller coasters and a lot of games with uh, their brands like Wheels and all of those.
Yes, I've also heard about that thing about the theme park. I think it will be interesting. It will be kind of, they're trying to follow the same path as Lego, if you think about it. So maybe it will
Yes.
be something that will help the brand to be more positioned. I mean, Mattel is a really well-known company, so let's see what happens to them. But yes, they're trying and they're investing into promoting more service activities than what they already has. Thank you, Enrique. That was a good example. Jime?
Sanrio, like the Hello Kitty company, it started like as a product company. They started selling products of Hello Kitty and My Melody, and they started having all these characters. They made movies and series, and in the 90s they opened a theme park in Japan called Sanrio Purland. And well, it's really popular there. Like mothers take their children like in the weekends, like their young children, like girls and boys, because it's really like a park for small children, and they have a lot of fun there. They sell food, they sell products, and they have attractions. So it's like a whole experience for the little kids.
Nice, that's cool. So, well, my perception of this is that most of the brands are investing into theme parks, which is exciting. I love theme parks. So that will be totally something of them to just promote their core essence and make more money, because at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for. Thank you so much, Jime. Enrique, do you want to say something?
No, miss.
Okay, because I've seen you raise hand. Okay,
Ah,
perfect. So anyone else wants to mention a different example?
Can I mention another one?
Yes, of course, feel free.
I just remember that since you mentioned theme parks, I remember that Nintendo opened one as well in Japan, like Nintendo World, I think it's called. And well, I think
Yes.
we all know Nintendo, yeah, they make consoles, video games, etc. And I've seen videos and it
Yes.
looks very cool. I want to go there one
Yes,
day.
you want to feel that experience too. Yes. Okay, so if we go to Japan, we have a lot of things to do right now. That's great. Thank you. Jime?
Yeah, I just remember another one. Also, the Warner Bros. They opened their Harry Potter studio tour in London, and like you go there. I mean, there's products, but you're going there to pay for the experience of seeing everything from the Harry Potter movies.
Yes, totally. Like I love Harry Potter. I'm a big fan of it, and I wanted to go when I was in London and I couldn't because you have like to pay for your ticket like 9 months before you go. It's crazy. It's like a really good experience that if you're really a fan, you will love to go there. So maybe people that go there will be like a really fandom thing and maybe the community of Harry Potter. But yes, that's really something that most of the productions are doing too. So if you think about Hollywood, I don't remember like the exact name of the production company. I think it's the one that made Pretty Little Liars and things, and Desperate Housewives, I think. So you were able to go there into the actual scenes where they were recording the TV series, and maybe sometimes you were able to see the actors like performing live action. So that's another thing that they're doing. So if you think about they're doing a service, which is like entertainment company, movie, TV series, and they're trying to make that kind of an experience, making like kind of a museum thing. So yes, that's really common also. And that was a good example too, Time. Thank you. So great. I think we had also good examples from your part. So we will continue, as I was mentioning you, with a little bit of um, concepts, theoretical concepts. I hope I don't bother you. Okay, so great. So when talking about international service expansion, by this means by thinking a company going into another country. Oh, Hershey Chocolate World at Las Vegas. Yes, that's crazy. I want to go there too. Oh my God. It's like a really good experience if you're like a chocolate lover. And at the same time, if you go there, you will probably also be buying more products that if there was just like a kind of a basic store of Hershey's. So yes, thank you, Paola. That was a good example too. Okay, so coming back into international service expansion, so this will be pretty much what the company needs to consider in order for them to be like moving into a country, sorry. So these are like 5 basic steps that you will have to be following or a company should be following. So first of all, you have to understand your essence. What is the value perceived by your consumer? Customer. Sorry, this is wrong. So if you think about normally, sometimes there is a misunderstood if you have a product and a service at the same time, you will have to be understanding if your core essence will be on the product that you're selling or on the service that you're offering. So you will have to really understand what's your core essence. And that's like pretty much the first step that you have to make, because if you don't understand this, maybe you will have it wrong when trying to go into another country. So then you have to then identify the best international market. So the best international market, what do you think about not limiting yourself? Sometimes I think that we always do like a country, and you will select always a country, a country, a country. But I think that sometimes that's not the best idea for you to move in a company. So maybe you will have to think about a city, a region, our continent, a state. It doesn't have to be a country, the whole country. So why? Because I'm telling you this because if you think about the United States and even Mexico. So I will give first the example of the United States and then the one of Mexico. So if you think by a Mexican company going into the United States, it will not be the same to go into New York City that going into LA. It will be two completely different types of customers. And maybe you will have to adapt them into their lifestyle, and it will be pretty much the opposite. And if you think about that, that also happens in Mexico. So it's not the same opening um, a company in Merida than open it in, I don't know, Baja California or Nuevo León. So it will be different because we have, even though that we're from the same country, we have different types of taste and maybe kind of a cultural differences in between. So that's just something that I wanted for you to consider, that don't feel forced that you will always have to choose a country. There are plenty more options that may be the most better way to do so. Because why sometimes it will be better for you to try it in a small size than going hard like just the whole country. Okay, great. So the third step will be determine the best business model in the new location. So how should the company get in? How are you going to get in? Would it be like a license, like Ferrari with a theme park? It will be, I don't know, an equity alliance, a joint venture. So it can also be one of the 4 types of ways of export modes. Are you going to go with that? So this is something that you should consider. Why? Because sometimes, as we have been mentioning, countries has like a lot of limit for you to get into the country. We have seen the example of Brazil. We have seen the example of China, where you have to make like a joint venture or an alliance with local companies. If not, you will not be able to enter, or maybe not be able to enter, but you will be like, you will have a lot of different steps to follow, and it might be harder than you think. So that's something that you should determine, and just think about the different possibilities and maybe regulations that the country might ask you for. Then it will be the 4th step. So now that you know your core essence and what your company is more differentiated at, you have identified the location that you are going to be entering into the market. You have known how are you going to get there. Then you will have to tropicalize it. Why? All services and also all products might have to be adapted. It's not the same selling an experience here in Mexico that selling it to Argentina or selling it to Singapore or whatever part of the world. It's different, and you will always have to tropicalize the idea. So what the question will be, what should be adapted to the new market to be successful? Because is maybe not the same way that you're selling the product here, and okay, here in Mexico is really successful, and I will be applying the same into another country and it will be the same. No, will not be the same. Something that is successful here doesn't mean that will make you successful in another country. So that's something that I think we all know, and that's the main core essence of your career. So yes, tropicalization. Then you will have to implement. And by implement, you will have to implement what you just have been showing in all the steps of understanding, identifying, determine, tropicalize. You will have to implement your correction. And then it's not that you will have to do it once. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that a company can have is, okay, I tropicalize, I already adapted my services, here you go. No. You will always have to be improving. So you will have to be in a constant improve. And as soon as you learn what you just applied, get feedback and go back again on, okay, what am I going to be serving? How am I going to tropicalize this? And then you will have to implement it again. And then you will have feedback, and then you will go, and it's a loop. And that's one of the biggest challenges that a company can have when they enter the market. So great. In order for you to ground down these concepts, I will be sharing with you a case example so that we can have a more understanding. So, okay, the example will be Dunkin' Donuts. It will be a case analysis. So Dunkin' Donuts, I don't know if you all know the brand, but just in case, it's a coffee shop, and it's also like kind of pastry and fast food. And what the main case analysis that we're going to be dealing at right now will be when they enter it into the Indian market. It's interesting, and I will be putting you a video of it. And why is this interesting? Because it tells you what they did bad on entering into the Indian market and how they fixed it. So it's a real case example, and we are going to start detailing all of the steps over there. So I will put you the first part, then we're going to talk about the first steps, then I will play it again, and we're going to finalize with the last conclusions. So why is Dunkin' Donuts failing in India?
Dunkin' is synonymous with breakfast pretty much everywhere you go. There are more than 12,600 restaurants in 46 countries, from Kuwait to Aruba. But there is one market where the company has failed to capture national attention: India. As of 2018, it's closed more than half of its stores in just over 2 years, citing a lack of profitability and operational efficiency. So what went so wrong for Dunkin' in India? To answer that, let's go back to 2012, when Dunkin' launched its first location. Dunkin' granted exclusive franchising rights to Jubilant Foodworks, the same franchisee that brought Domino's Pizza to India, one of the top restaurant brands in the country. Dunkin' entered with its typical breakfast-first strategy, and it braced for heavy traffic at the start of the day. But it didn't take long to figure out that Indians weren't all that interested in the American morning routine. The majority of Indian consumers don't prefer to grab and go their breakfast. They'd rather have a sit-down meal.
Yeah, basically when you look at donuts, so basically when Dunkin' Donuts came to India, it's regarded as a breakfast for all the Western countries or wherever the Dunkin' Donuts have their outlets. But in India, it's the consumer preferences are totally different. So here people, they generally prefer their local cuisine for their breakfast.
And it wasn't just the timing of the offering. It appeared to be the menu itself. To be fair, Dunkin' tried to localize its offerings. It had custom donuts catered to Indian taste buds, like the mango donut. It had lychee culottes. And for a brand that rarely ventures outside its core product, Dunkin' even rolled out a spicy sandwich lineup. In an effort to localize its menu, this coffee-loving brand even downplayed its beverage branch of business, which accounts for about 60% of Dunkin's sales. Instead, it marketed its food to a nation that's not exactly crazy about coffee. But it wasn't enough to help Dunkin' shake its donut-first reputation. Dunkin' was seen as more of a pastry shop, and Indians didn't want to start their day with sweet baked goods.
Donut is basically considered as a dessert, right? And a dessert which has a lot of other assortments added onto it, so it's a high-calorie assortment. And therefore, it's more like a luxury, it's more like a impulse kind of a purchase which you make if you are celebrating, or is there a special occasion, or once in a while Indians having a sweet tooth would like to indulge in that kind of a purchase.
So Dunkin' pivoted. It pushed its operating hours later. It rolled out its Diwali donut, which touted savory flavorings like chickpea, saffron, and chili. But key to Dunkin's tweaked image was actually to downplay the donut. So it tried something it hadn't done before: burgers. With burgers, Dunkin' was able to get more foot traffic in, and the non-beef lineup was designed to appeal to the country's vegetarians. But making burgers the anchor product of the brand just appeared to dilute Dunkin's image rather than help it.
They started advertising on burgers rather than donuts. I mean, when you're a global brand, when donuts in your name, you cannot say that we are not donuts and we are something else, right? So that's really against the basic rule of marketing, which is focus.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do first is understand, the first step is understand your essence. So what is the value perceived by the customers, by the consumer for Dunkin' Donuts? So what is the perception that you guys have about Dunkin' Donuts? What will be the essence that you feel about the brand? Someone?
Well,
What would you
mainly,
do?
sorry, they're like coffee, sweet pastry. I don't know. It was weird, like them including hamburgers.
Yes, that was weird, and we're going to talk about it. But For example, what are you expecting for donuts, like Dunkin' Donuts, to serve you, like in kind of a service? What is the main core essence that you will imagine or you will be looking for in general? Like, Paula?
Something for the something quick, like something to take on to grab and go. I mean,
Yes.
but take a donut, take a coffee, and go on in your day.
Yes, completely. So most of the people will be having like kind of a rush in the morning and they just want to grab something and go and fast. But at the same time, some people are trying to find an space for them to eat and go with their family or friends and stay there for a while. So it will be two types of different consumers. Maybe I will be preferring to go there and have a little time spending in the restaurant or in the infrastructure of Dunkin' Donuts, but maybe Paola will be saying like, no, I don't have time to be staying there. I want fast things. I want to be there just 2 minutes and just grab it and go to my school or my job or whatever. So those are two different types of consumers, and maybe Dunkin' Donuts have not decided which one will they target on. And that's something that they should consider, because not everyone is the same. So not everyone will be looking for fast food in some kind of way, and not everyone will be looking for an experience of it. So yes, that will be a great thing for you to perceive about the Dunkin' Donuts. So also, and what it was mentioned in the video. So I'm sorry. If you think about it, the logo, what does the logo says about Dunkin' Donuts? I mean, it says Dunkin' Donuts, but in the logo you have a coffee, and it's like a hot coffee. So I don't know, what do you think? It's weird for it to say donuts and not having the donut, you know? What do you think?
You dunk your donut in the coffee, in the hot coffee. Lo chopeas.
Okay, maybe that will be a way to see it, but like, I mean, if you think like an obvious way, okay, Dunkin' Donuts, like I will expect it to see the donut there. I don't know, that will be like kind of my perception. But maybe it depends on who is saying it. Yes, Jime?
I think they also like kind of wanted to showcase that they also sell coffee, because if you just maintain the donut's name, well, it just becomes a donut shop, and they want to showcase that their specialty is also coffee and donuts.
Okay, great. So yes, so maybe they will have to define what's their core essence, or what they're trying to get to know for, what are they trying to the customer to get to know them. So something that also that it's interesting here, the slogan of Dunkin' Donuts is the following. So it says, America's favorite coffee and baked goods chain. So in some way, they're just saying America's favorite coffee. But what about Dunkin' Donuts being in Europe? I mean, okay, it might be the America's favorite coffee, but I'm not from America, so it's weird. So maybe also that slogan has to change, like in some way, for something for it to be more general. Why? Because Dunkin' Donuts just didn't expand it into India. They have another several locations in Europe, in Asia. So they're growing a lot. And if you are willing to do these kind of investments in different countries, you will have to start with your core essence, which is your slogan, your mission, your vision, your core essences, the logo, for them to be more, have a better perception of the brand. I don't know, maybe they will have to make something more general. Why? Because maybe in some countries, they will not just be selling donuts. Like maybe in the United States, that's the culture that they have, that donuts, and they love it. But maybe in other countries, Dunkin' Donuts might not be the best way to sell them like an experience or food in general. So that would be something. And something that I just want to mention too, here in Dunkin' Donuts. Well, this is like the infrastructure that they normally have. Sorry. This is the infrastructure that they normally have. So if you see, it's a big space. You can go inside and just take the coffee there, stay for a little while, and also they have the oh my god, I forgot the name. The fast food. I forget it in Spanish too. So
The drive-through.
the drive-through. Yes. So it will be the drive-through. They also have the drive-through. So that's what I was saying. Like they offer both of them. So they target different consumers there. Also, what they are more famous about, if you think about, well, it says Dunkin' Donuts. So in the name, you will always say donuts, 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 donuts. But just for you to have a data about Dunkin' Donuts is that they have 60% of their sales will be coffee. So they're selling more coffee than donuts, and that's a reality. And what specific kind of coffee do they are selling? It will be iced coffee. So if you think about here the coffee, well, maybe it's because in this way you will get it more, but it's like hot coffee, the one that it's in the logo. And also another time the thing about donuts, and they're selling more coffee than donuts. So a question in here will be, is the service the value or is the product the value? Why? Because sometimes I don't drink coffee, but I have a lot of friends that they love coffee and they're obsessed with it. And what they say to me about Dunkin' Donuts is that there's a really good perception about taste, size, and price. So if you think about this, I think this is the large one, and it's not that expensive. It has really good taste, and it's like the sizes are crazy. If you order a large size in Starbucks, it will definitely not be this type of size, and it will probably cost you more than what you're offering in here in Dunkin' Donuts. So maybe the core value of Dunkin' Donuts will not be the service that they're offering. It will totally be the product that they're selling. And if you think about Starbucks, maybe you will figure it out that what Starbucks is selling will be the experience more than the product. So it will be just a matter of fact for you to identify these types of things in your company, just in general. So great. This will be the first step, just for them to understand their essence. Is it coffee? Is it the product? Is it the service? Is it donuts? Will it be for fast food? Will it be for them to stay in? So what are you at the end really offering? Which one will you choose? Sometimes if you have a lot of them, you will not be identified for something, you know what I mean? Or maybe you will be too specialized in something, Dunkin' Donuts. So everyone will think about Dunkin' Donuts, about coffee and donuts. And maybe you can sell some other things. So that will be the first step. Then another thing, for example, here for the Indian market, identify the best international market rate. Well, they identified the Indian market, and that's the choice that they made. So just please tell me, what are the factors that Dunkin' Donuts should have identified in order for them to go into the Indian market? If you were working for, I'm sorry, if you were working for Dunkin' Donuts, what would you be searching for? Yes, Sarah?
Well, for example, I don't know if I'm right, but when I think about Indian food, I think about salty food. Like, I maybe do not know a lot of their food, but I have the perception that it's salty. And on the other hand, Dunkin' Donuts, it's extremely sweet, like no ordinary sweet, but extremely sweet. So I think that's like it's not related to the product and the country.
Yes, so it will be more about the taste of the consumer there in India. It might not be the best way to enter into the market. They will have always to tropicalize that. Thank you. And maybe if you think about that, the same thing that I'm saying, Dunkin' Donuts, they will think about that as a dessert and not as food. Maybe in the United States, they have that kind of idea of taking a donut for breakfast. But as they said in the video, they're not that type of consumer. So yes, thank you, Sarah. Monse and then Paula.
Well, maybe also the consumption habits because of my partner say already because they have different food taste and I already heard that in India they like a lot of I don't know the no salty food I don't know the condimentada I don't know how to say
Curry.
Curry and all that stuff and it's very different that the market that they are full satisfied in the other countries like USA and all that stuff and I think that it's a very important characteristic and also the cultural stuff because they have a different habits of food schedules and all that stuff. They like more a cafeteria for the family than they are like in United States. They are like more like kind of a Starbucks thing with the app, and they all have the fast food thing. And in India, I think that they are more like the kind of the restaurant thing, and they have like more the customer journey experience.
Yes, totally. And that's also what they said in the video. They're more like a family kind of tradition of breakfast. So they will not even go to a restaurant to have breakfast. They will absolutely be doing that at home. So even though that you put all the infrastructure for them to go there and have some family time, they will prefer national dishes for breakfast, and they will be doing it at home totally 100%. So maybe your focus will not be on giving breakfast, but giving more about, I don't know, maybe lunch or dinner, maybe, or just adapting a little bit more. Of course, the sweet thing will not be a thing right there. Why? Because sometimes a donut is more considered as a dessert in India, as they mentioned, and it will probably be also considered more as a luxury, like something that you will not be buying all day, like all the days, like in a row. Maybe you will be buying just a donut like once every 2 weeks. So that's not a good rotation for the company if you think about it. Yes, Paula?
I was going to say like consumer spending on luxury items. As I mentioned in the video, sometimes a donut is considered a luxury. So I would try to see how much do the customers in India spend on luxury on average. But also I think it's important the perception of the consumer regarding the country of origin. For instance, what do they think or what do they associate with the United States, for instance? If they associate it with fast food and so on and so forth, if they are willing to consume that and so on.
Yes, and some of the attributes that they said that they found in India was, okay, the market is growing. Yes, the market is growing in India. And they had a good perception of American brands and a good relationship with it. But that doesn't mean that the company will be a success. I mean, it cannot be like that way 100%. So of course, all that you have been saying about the demand and about the consumer expectations, it's true. And I think it's one of the core essence that a company has to consider when entering a country. But just to think about like out of the box, what are other aspects that you should consider that is not about demand, that it's not directly considering into the culture, into the consumer taste habits, into nothing, that it's about tropicalization? What other factors should you consider, like to enter into the market? Someone? Any ideas? Okay, I will help you with this. So something that you should also consider, and what we have been also covering in the last weeks, is the government aspects. Are they going to support you? Are they going to charge you some special taxes? So that's something that you should consider that will be out of your hands. Also the infrastructure. Do there are a lot of spaces for you to construct things or not, or to start expanding? So if you think about Hong Kong, taking Dunkin' Donuts there, well, maybe the space in Hong Kong will only give you two different stores, and you will just have that. You will not be able to construct any other more. So maybe that will not be sufficient or efficient for the brand. So that's something that you should consider, and also competition. So we will start going back to the video just to see the last part, and they will tell you also about the competition, because it's something that most of the times you just concentrate everything about the consumer habits, and that's something really important, but also competitors. I mean, am I going to have a lot of competitors there? Am I going to be the pioneer of these types of franchise or not? So it's something important that you should consider. So here is just like a list of basic things that I just enrolled, which are some of the things that you mentioned, just for you to have it there. So we will go back to the video.
It's food to a nation that's making burgers the anchor product of the brand just appeared to dilute Dunkin's image rather than help it.
They started advertising on burgers rather than donuts. I mean, when you're a global brand, when donuts in your name, you cannot say that we are not donuts and we are something else, right? So that's really against the basic rule of marketing, which is focus.
In a statement to CNBC, Dunkin' Brands said that it finds it important to include core Dunkin' products alongside more regional menu items to cater to local tastes. But Dunkin' didn't comment on its store closures in India. Another potential misstep had nothing to do with the menu. Dunkin' expanded too fast, its locations were too big, and those huge retail spaces translated into higher operational costs. So when Jubilant FoodWorks announced plans to pare back more Dunkin' shops in 2018, it came as little surprise that its new plan was to focus on small stores and kiosks. But keep in mind, Dunkin' isn't alone in its struggle with the donut. Dunkin's main donut rivals Krispy Kreme and Mad Over Donuts entered the market within a few years of one another. And at first, things were pretty great. Donuts were initially a hit when they were first introduced into the Indian market.
The young population, which was more acceptable to American tastes and culture. And so for them, it was the issue of novelty. And therefore, donut market saw a surge in the Indian subcontinent. And we had Dunkin' Donuts, which entered the market at that point of time. And we all know that right from 22 stores, they reached up to 77 stores in 2017, which was the peak of Dunkin' Donuts in India.
But Agarwal said that the donut's popularity has started to stagnate, and now the donut chains of India are feeling the pressure.
The donut is struggling. It's not just Dunkin' and Krispy Kreme. There have been declining sales across donuts for quite some time. Not just in India, but if donuts were working, they would be Dunkin' Donuts, but they're now just Dunkin'. And so that's, if it's not working here, it's certainly not working in India.
That precipitous fall in the popularity of the donut is partly to do with the more health-conscious India.
India is becoming a very health-conscious market, right? So people are moving away from sugar and salty food and looking for more healthier options. So that's one of the reasons why I feel that the sales have kind of stagnated.
But even though Indian consumers are looking for healthier foods, some dessert chains in the country aren't struggling like Dunkin'. In fact, one of Dunkin' Brand's other businesses, Baskin-Robbins, is killing it in India. Baskin-Robbins, which is franchised in India by Gravis Food, has more than 725 stores in the country and claims to be the largest ice cream chain in India. So if Baskin-Robbins and Dunkin' are two fruits from the same tree, then why is one doing so much better than the other in India? Euromonitor says it's because Baskin-Robbins focused on its signature product, ice cream. And according to a Mintel report, the ice cream industry is heating up in India. Mintel estimates that in 2021, 657.2 million liters of ice cream will be purchased in India. But donuts? Well, they're just not a favorite for the adult Indian consumer. So Dunkin's big problem in India seems to have more to do with the fact that it's failing to give Indian consumers what they're looking for, and less to do with any mistake made by either Dunkin' Brands or Jubilant FoodWorks. Take Dunkin' Brands. The company in the United States is by no means failing. The company has seen a steady growth in revenues over recent years. The Indian market isn't biased against international companies, more specifically Dunkin' Brands, because Baskin-Robbins has seen such success in India. And Jubilant FoodWorks, which franchises Dunkin' in India, also franchises Domino's Pizza, one of the most popular brands in the country. It's also not the first time an international Dunkin' franchise agreement has flopped either. Dunkin' has tried and failed to enter China twice, and in 2015, it decided to step back in a third time with a better understanding of what Chinese consumers want and an ambitious goal to open 1,400 restaurants. So will Dunkin' in India have the same story as Dunkin' in China? Or will it be able to turn things around? Experts say it's certainly worth trying. With a population size second only to China, India is thought of as the last great battleground for international fast food rivals. Only about 3% of all food service establishments there are chained. In Western markets, it's over 50%. So if you're looking to capture market share in the US, you have to take it away from somebody else. But if you enter India in the right way, with the right formula, there's tremendous potential upside. And reducing store sizes is part of that formula.
For the newer stores, they have been reducing their sizes, store sizes, which is the same strategy which was being followed by Mad Over Donuts or Krispy Kreme.
The brand slashed unprofitable stores and instead started focusing on small kiosks to sell their products. And remember how they basically ignored their beverage unit when first entering the country? That's not happening anymore. They're planning to introduce more teas to their menu to cater to Indian tastes.
They're probably better off on the hot beverage focused side of it than trying to localize the menu to get away from it being donuts.
So yeah, Dunkin' in India has had to overcome a lot upon entering the market, and it still does. But by adding tea-based beverages to their menu and offloading unprofitable stores for kiosks, Dunkin' may be able to save itself in India after all.
Great. So that was it about Dunkin' Donuts. And just to close up this case analysis, so determine the best business model in the new location. As it says in the video, what did they did? They tried to enter to the Indian market as a franchise with FoodWorks, Jubilant FoodWorks. So if you think about it, they also have Domino's Pizza, which is like a really well-known brand in the world. And they also have one Chinese that it's called Hong's Kitchens. So this was one of the ways that they could enter, but they also should have like other types of options, which is like licenses, turnkey operations, joint venture, equity alliances, as all the other concepts that we have been seeing that are a possibility. I think that them choosing to enter into the Indian markets as a franchise was a good idea. Why? Because Julian know all the kinds of operations that the Indian market has and the Indian government has. So they have these types of essence of knowing or the know-how about India completely. And they can also start doing like kind of cross-product advertisements, you know? So I think that was something that they did right. So check for the Dunkin' Donuts. So just moving up into the tropicalization that they made. So they made three essential changes for them to be success in the Indian market. The first was the menu. They entered with new recipes, as they said, with more ingredients that they are looking for, like mango or lychee or other products that they valued more than the American market. More varied options for meals. They entered with burgers and burritos and other types of meals from from India, like classic Indian meals. They also entered with the tea line, which they figured out that in the Indian market, they drink more iced tea or tea than coffee. So they included that too. The branding, well, less dessert and breakfast and more fast food, like quickly. So they realized that they were not trying to go there and stay for a little bit longer. That may be what they do in their homes, but not what they were looking for a restaurant. And they also quit all the emphasis in coffee. So if you pretty much think about that, the logo was not that good of an idea. Why? Because they will not be focusing on coffee, and maybe they will not be selling that much of donuts. So maybe something has to change in the logo for it to be more like general and not that focused on. For real estate, what they did was the things that they mentioned, that they started to sell all the big infrastructure that they have and just making more of a kiosk. I will show you an example right now in a bit. So something that you just have to realize in these types of tropicalization is that they mentioned in the video that 3% of the franchise in India are international. And maybe in that kind of way, you will think, oh, so there's no competition, I will be doing just great. But no, that was not necessarily the case. Maybe the Indian market is really used to have local brands and local companies and local restaurants and everything local. So that will mean that they will have more loyalty to those types of brands and companies than the international one, even though that they enjoy them. So that's something for you to be considering. Your competition will be an international competition, will be a really local competition. How am I going to be adapting, and what will be my competitive advantage over them? So that's something that they should consider. And also something that they mentioned is about the health selection of foods and everything. And that's something that I wanted just to mention to you, is that that's a tendency that is happening right now. All consumers are trying to find out new ways to buy the food in order for it to be more healthy. And that's something that it's a demand control and a demand condition that you cannot control, that it's out of your hands. So how are you going to adapt to that too? So maybe you will have to adapt a specific part of your menu for them or something. So it's just for you to have like a whole image of it. So this is the implementation and the improvement that they made. They made an alliance with Baskin Robbins, which was the ice cream company. And maybe you will think that they're competition, but not at the same time, because they sell like different food. So if Dunkin' Donuts was doing bad and Baskin Robbins was doing good, maybe a lot of people will be going there to buy an ice cream, and they will start to see all the options that Dunkin' Donuts has. So I think that was something good that they made, and also the kiosk things was something strategical good. So something for you to just have as a conclusion, I put here some bullets. The essence may be the product or the service, so they have to find out that, and maybe they're trying to also make different types of service experience, which is the fast food. Maybe if they try that, the core essence will start on the service that they offer, not the product anymore. Never assume that the new market behaves the same. As I was telling you, you will always have to have this essence of, not because I'm doing really great in the United States, I will be doing so in India. That may not be the case. And that's the perfect example of them trying to introduce into China. They have to, at the third attempt, they do it good. But the first two was not any good information over there. So don't assume, just it's better for you to research and make sure that the tropicalization is correct. And a new market may be good, but competition may be strong. And that was what I was telling you about the 3% of franchise being international. Maybe competition local will be really strong, and it's good for you to have that essence so that you can compete with them. And take into account the market trends, as I was mentioning you, the health market, they're changing, and consumers changing constantly. So you will have to be in constant evolution, and it's not that you will just implement it one day and that will be it for the next 10 years. That will not be the case. So this was the case analysis for Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe something that they will have to change is that they do all the in-shop things for you to go there and have that service and that experience over there. But maybe right now in the pandemic era, they could also start offering some online or home experiences and services. Maybe they have to look for other ways to make that service go beyond of what they have. It's just a suggestion, but it's like a proposal that you can come up at the end, right? So just to close, because we have not that much of a time. So Model 1, what did you get about Model 1? Well, in general, I put here, like, we get the introduction into services. We know about the 4 types of export modes, about the regulations and commitments that they have, and how the WTO is into these types of service exports. We also found out about Wiklund yesterday. We also have information about servitization. And also we have a lot of information of economics that is sustained, that right now the importance of services are really high and that we should look for that. And my advice for you is to know more about this. It will help you a lot when you graduate. And also in here to just have these types of essence of not just entering into a product, but services is the biggest market in the world. So great. Before we conclude, I just want to ask you, does anyone want to share any conclusions about the class? Something that you want to share with me, with your classmates? Someone? It's okay if you don't want to. Okay, Monse?
It's not a conclusion, it's more like just a comment, or I don't know. It's like, I really like how you like with the examples that you gave us in the class according to the topic that we saw, that because it's really, for me, it's really important to have a real good example to like, I don't know. I like how you put our self examples of the topics, like the examples you did of like in Disney, or right now the Dunkin' Donuts. How you like connect the examples with another like topics and all that kind of stuff, and the manner that you explain it, I like it very much. And that's all.
Thank you, Monse. Yes, that was what the whole idea that I had. Like, sometimes when you have an example in a theoretical thing and you connect it to both, you will be able to notice and to remember it more. So it will get into your mind, and it's like an easiest way for you to know the theoretical things. So I'm glad that you have that perception. That was the idea since the beginning. So thank you so much for your comment, Monse. I appreciate it. Someone else want to know about, like, comment about the conclusion, what you felt that the most interesting part of the model, or I don't know, your insights of it. No?
So I think, like, knowing the export modes, it was very interesting. I mean, I think we all saw, like, we all knew, like, commercial press, like, no, like companies expanding and putting franchises over the world or something like that, but no, not like classify the services. And I think that was very interesting. And I also liked, maybe that's some superficial, but the presentations, they were very attractive and they kept me on the presentation, you know? So thank you.
No, you're welcome, Sarah. Yes, so thank you for the presentation thing. I put myself too hard into it. So yes, the export modes, I think it's the easiest way for you to understand how companies also have these types of exports, that it's not a product. And if you think about it, I don't think that it's really hard. I think that it's just a matter of perceptions and You will start applying it in the challenge and in the model 2. So I hope that you find out a really strong idea of what a service is and what it involves in terms of exports, in terms of organizations, examples. I'm sure that you will be doing great in the whole class, I mean, challenge models. You were a really great group. I think that you were always participating and I love that. And I know it's hard, it's 7 a.m. and you were doing your best. So I appreciate that too. Thank you so much. And just to have a little meme and just laugh a little bit. Como dijo mi ex, hasta aquí llegamos. Este es el fin. So just before we end, I just want to, I'm always sharing like a quote that will be like, it's really related to me. And I hope that you find it interesting. So here, just giving you a little bit on this. So this is a quote that I used to enter to the Disney program. And it really describes like what I do in my whole life. So it says, if your heart is in your dreams, no request is too extreme. And what this means for me, like my mission in life has always been act with passion to transcend. I'm always looking to put all my heart in what I do and to try to make like dejar huella in everyone. So what my advice for you will be, please don't quit your dreams. If you are looking for something and you have it in your mind, go for it. So as the quote says there, if your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. If you want it and you really do want to achieve that goal or get that job or do that international program, do it. You're the only one that will be like having an stop right there. So in other words, tú eres tu propio límite. So please, you're capable of doing anything. And my best advice for you is do everything that passions you. And if you're not in the correct place and you feel that you're not doing something that you love, please go out of there and find out what you really enjoy and what you love and something that will not feel as a job or like a hard time. So that will be my advice for you. I hope that you like the class. I love being with you. It was a really good experience. So thank you so much for your time, for your participation. As I was telling you, you are able to submit your activities if you have not submitted yet. You have until Sunday. If it was late, I will graduate it over 80, but that will be fine. So thank you so much for your class, and I hope to see you soon in other parts of your career.
Thank you, Professor.
No, you're welcome. So we'll be talking, and if you have any questions about the activity or something, please give me an email and I'll try to answer you as fast as I can. So have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor, for everything.
Have a great weekend. Have fun.
Thank you, Professor. It was a really good
Thank you for
class.
everything.
I really
Yes.
enjoyed it.
Thank you, Professor.
No, you're
See you
welcome.
next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, Miss. Have a great
Miss, I have a question.
Yes, Miguel.
I'm trying to, o sea, in Canvas to upload, for example, the activity tour, y no me deja, o sea, no me sale de que disponible para subirlo.
Ok, a ver, dame 2 segundos.
Sí, o sea, que soy de crear 1.2 y nada